everyone. Myself B. Vasanta, working as a guest faculty in TTWRTC Women Geneva in the Department of Computer Science. So today I would like to give you a briefing about what is an operating system and what are the characteristics of an operating system and what are the advantages and difficulties we are facing with the operating system and what are the different types of operating systems we have. Okay, so let us say first what is an operating system. So what will happen if we purchase any computer and any laptop systems, then first and foremost we have to install the operating system. So without installing an operating system, no other software will be installed in the computer. So why operating system plays that much of importance in the computers? So operating system is nothing but it is a intermediate or it is an intermediate between user and the computer. Okay, or we can say operating system is a system software. It is a system software which is a collection of programs which is used to manage the resources of a computer. So in order to manage the resources of a computer, we require an operating system. So if anyone observes, when we start the computer or when we switch on the computer, it will take some time to open the window. Okay, why it takes some time? Means it is installing the operating system. Okay, it is the inbuilt process. Okay, no one can install the operating system. Okay, operating system by itself, it reinstalls the operating system for every restart of a computer. Okay, so what are the we are saying that it is a collection of programs or it is a set of programs. So all those programs has to be reinstalled in the computer. So for that purpose it needs some time. So that process is called as a booting process. Okay, so that is the briefing about operating system. So coming to the summary of an definition of an operating system. So I already told that it is a collection of set of programs which manages all the resources of the computer. So computer resources in the sense, computer resources are nothing but those are the CPU and memory and IO devices. Okay, all those are comes under the resources of the CPU. So how to use the resources and what resources will be used for what task and what resources will be applicable for which operation, all these are defined by the operating system, or we can say it is a set of it is a intermediate between the user and the hardware. Hardware is nothing but the computer system. Okay, and this is the diagrammatic representation of an operating system. So see here, this is acts as an interface between user and the computer. Okay, so here the user and the computer and operating system works as an intermediate. So why it is works as an intermediate means user understands the language which is in the form of high level language. Okay, means the language which is understandable by the user, it not understandable by the computer. Why? Because computer knows only zeros and ones. That is called as low level language, or we can call it as a binary language. Okay, so the binary language format is not it is difficult to understand the user. Okay, I am not saying it is not understandable by the user. It can be understandable by the user, but it is having some difficulties. So the well knowledge person about the binary language only can write a syntax or write the request to the computer in the binary format. So it is not possible. It may be some complication to the normal users. So computer provides the environment for all the users. So user has know only the high level language and the computer understands only the binary language. Okay, so in order to convert the high level language into the low level language and low level language into the high level language, we use an operating system. Okay, so what are the characteristics of an operating system? So coming to the characteristics of an operating system, operating system is operating system, the characteristics of an operating system are, first one is the scheduling. So scheduling in the sense, if we are having different tasks, multiple tasks, then which task has to be executed first and which task has to be handled by the CPU or whatever the computer, that will be decided by the operating system. And the next one is memory management, device management and file management. So memory management is nothing but which data has to be stored in the memory first, okay, and which device has to be used for a particular task. So memory management is nothing but which device, data has to be stored in the memory in the first, means priority. Okay, we are having different data items. So all the data items, it is not possible to store all the data items at a time. So one by one the data has to be allocated. So which data has to be allocated first and which data has to be allocated next, that will be decided by the operating system. And device management is nothing but which device is applicable, which device is used for which task. Okay, it is not possible to use a particular device for all the tasks. Okay, so which device is used for a particular task, and if the same device will be used for multiple tasks, then the priority will be assigned, means the scheduling criteria will be followed. Okay, and the next one is security. The very important is security will be provided by the operating system. And next is interact with the different softwares. So I first I told that operating system, without operating system it is not possible to install the other softwares. Okay, why? Because the operating system is the heart of a computer. So the operating system has the facility to interact with any type of software. Okay, not only a particular software, it is have the capability to interact with any type of software. Okay, so these are the characteristics of an operating system. So we have different types of scheduling criteria, means how the data will be scheduled. All these things are based on the algorithms. Okay, scheduling algorithms we have in the operating system, and we will discuss about those in later videos. Okay, and the next, what is the advantages of an operating system? So the first and foremost operating system advantage is it provides a GUI interface. GUI interface is nothing but graphical user interface. Graphical user interface in the sense, if we observe on the desktop, we have different types of menus and icons. All those are comes under the graphical user interface. Okay, it provides the GUI interface, GUI environment. So GUI environment is nothing but what are the applications or what are the softwares are available in the system that will be represented on the desktop in the form of menus and icons. That is the GUI interface. And also it allows to share the resources to some other users or some other systems. Okay, it is not applicable for a particular person or particular system. It will be shareable. Okay, the data, the resources will be shareable to the some other persons with the help of an operating system. And also by using this operating system, user can understand, user can know that what are the functionalities provided by an what are the functionalities provided by a computer. Okay, and the next very important advantage is it is very easy to use. Okay, we don't have to learn about the programming concepts to use in order to use an operating system, and no need to bother about the coding to use an operating system. It is eco-friendly environment. Okay, and what are the difficulties we are having? Not exactly the disadvantage, but we are having some difficulties while using the operating system. So what are those difficulties we are having? The first one is, if the operating system will be corrupted, then the entire system will make crash. Why? Because we are saying without operating system there is no computer, means the computer does not perform any task without an operating system. That's why I am saying that if the operating system, if we are getting any complexity with the operating system, then obviously the entire computer system will make crash. And next one is, I am saying that operating system performs multiple tasks, but not all the tasks. Multiple tasks I am saying, but not all the tasks which are given by the user. It performs only some tasks at a time. Okay, at a time it will perform some tasks. Okay, so not all the tasks, that will be considered as a difficulty by using an operating system. Okay, and what are the different types of operating systems we have? So operating systems, while discussing with the operating systems, we have different types of operating systems based on the time and based on the resources they are having and based on the memory they are having and based on the requirements they are having. Based on these criteria, we are having different types of operating systems. Those are batch operating system, time sharing operating system, distributed operating system, network operating system and real-time operating system. Okay, and coming to the batch operating system. What is a batch operating system? system. Batch operating system is nothing but it specifies, we are saying that a batch is nothing but we are making a group. Okay, we are forming a group. So how we are forming a group, how we are making a batch? It is nothing but the similar kinds of tasks, whatever we are having multiple tasks. In those multiple tasks, which task is having the similarities? Okay, based on the programming concepts or based on the resources, whatever it may be, we can take any criteria. So based on a particular criteria, which task is having the similarities, those tasks will be formed as a single batch. Okay, so here operating system, what will do the operating system? It forms a batches based on the jobs or whatever the task we are having, whatever the similar task we are having, those tasks will be formed as a batch. Like that we may have more than one batches, and those batches will be sent to the CPU for processing. Okay, see here the diagram, I am showing the diagram here, that is batch operating system. We are having five different batches here we are having. For suppose if I take batch 1 deals with the C programming, and batch 2 deals with the C++, and batch 3 deals with again C, and batch 4 and batch 5 deals with C++. So here we may form two batches. One is regarding the C programming, another one is regarding C++. Okay, so here what will do the operating system? It takes all the batches and it takes all the jobs. After that it forms as a batches. So in batch 1 we have job 1 and job 3. Job 1 and job 3 are having the similar task, means both are working on C, and batch 2, batch 4 and batch 5 are working on C++. That's why I am forming two batches, and those batches will be sent to the CPU for processing. Okay, so when we use these types of batches means it is used when we are having a large task. We are having a large file and which consists of different tasks. In that we have to take similar task has to be formed as a batch so that we can create a particular file within a short span of time. Okay, so batch operating system, when will batch operating system work? The batch operating system will work to submit similar kinds of jobs together. So similar kinds of jobs has to be gathered as a batch. And what are the advantages? What is the advantage by using this batch operating system means? I already told that if you are having a large file, okay, if you are dealing with a large files, then it will be usable. Okay, and next, what is the disadvantage of using this batch operating system? The disadvantage is once the job is submitted to the operating system. Okay, once if we submitted the job to an operating system, and operating system, what will do the operating system? It makes as a batch. Okay, so once if we submit the operating job to the operating system, the user is not having any interaction with the computer. Okay, only one task we have to do, that is we have to submit the batch to the operating system or submit the job to the operating system. After submission, the user is not having any interaction with the operating system. Okay, so we don't have any access to change the task of a particular job. Okay, we don't have any permissions, we don't have any interaction. That's why that will be considered as somewhat disadvantage by using the batch operating system. And the next one is time sharing operating system. Time sharing, I am saying time sharing. Time sharing is nothing but we are dealing with the time sharing concept. Okay, dealing with the time sharing concept in the sense, if you are having different types of tasks, multiple tasks we are having, then each and every task is assigned, allocated with a particular time. Means in a particular time you have to complete the process. After that, after the time is completed, time out, then what we have to do? The second process has to be started. Okay, without any intimation. Why? Because we already told we are assigning some time. So within the time only you have to do the work. Okay, so time sharing is nothing but the entire CPU time will be shared among the processes, equally shared among the processes. Okay, see here. So this is the example. I am taking an example. I am taking a diagrammatic representation. We are having 6 different types of processes connected to the CPU, and each and every process is allocated for a fixed time slot, that is 10 seconds. Okay, so by using this fixed time slot, we have disadvantage as well as a disadvantage. So what is the advantage means? If a particular process, if I take the process 1, the time is 10 seconds, but if the process is completed within a given time, means 10 seconds I am allocating, but it will be completed in 5 seconds only. Okay, it is completed in 5 seconds only. So what is the time we are having? We are saving 5 seconds of time. So the 5 seconds of time will be shared to the remaining processes. Okay, means the remaining processes time slot will be increased. When it is increased, when a particular process is completed his processing within the time. Okay, so 10 seconds, here we are having 10 seconds, but it is not taking 10 seconds, it is taking less time. So whatever the time saved for a particular process, that time will be shared to the remaining processes. Obviously then the remaining processes time slot will be increased. Okay, at the same time, here, see here, there is no communication between the processes. Okay, so we have the problem of data communication. So here, by using this time sharing operating system, we have the advantage, that is, if the process of a task is completed, then the time between other tasks is increases. Why? Because the time will be shared to the remaining processes. Whatever that time saved for a particular process, that time will be shared to the remaining processes. Then obviously the remaining process time will be increased. But what is the disadvantage? There may be a problem of data communication. Okay, there is no communication between the processes. Means the first process, which devices will be used by the first process and which devices will be used by the second process, and what will be the outcome of the first process. This is not known to the remaining processes. Okay, there is a problem of data communication. Got it? And the third one is distributed operating system. So in a time sharing operating system, what I told the drawback, that is we don't have the data communication problem. So in order to solve that problem, we are using the distributed operating system. So distributed operating system is nothing but whatever how many computers we are having, all those computers for a particular network in a particular region, whatever the networks we are having, whatever the computers we are having, all those computers are interconnected with each other. Not directly communication, but they are interconnected with each other through the network. Okay, we are using a network, all the computers are connected to the particular network. Why they are connected to the network? For sharing their resources. Okay, means what the first computer or if you are having some 6 types of computers, then what are the functionalities of, what are the outcome of the first computer and what are the resources of the first computer, all these are shareable to the remaining computers by using the distributed operating system. See here the diagram. All the computers, whatever the computers we are having, we have 4 types of computers, and those 4 types of computers are connected to the network, and whatever the problem or whatever the thing done in a particular computer, that will be known to all the computers with the help of a network. Why? Because to the network all the computers are connected. That's why what will happens to a particular computer, that will be known to the remaining computers. Okay, then what is the advantage of using this computer? By using this operating system, means here we are having interconnection. Means if for a particular computer the work is over, okay, the work is over, then means that the particular computer is used overly. Okay, overused. If the node is overused, then operating system, what will do the operating system? It will share the whatever the work assigned to a particular computer, that will be shareable to the remaining computers. Then the work will be completed in time, and there will be no burden to a particular computer. Okay, that is the advantage of using this distributed operating system. So see here, if a node is overused, then operating system shares that node to other nodes of a network. So in that particular network, whatever the computers we are having, it will share that particular computer task to the remaining computers. That will be the advantage of using this distributed operating system. Then what will be the disadvantage? If the network, here we are using the center point is a network. So if there is any failure to the particular network, then the entire systems, whatever the systems connected to the particular network, will be broken. So that is the disadvantage. So if the network is spread, means if the network is, there may be some problem, then whatever the computers communicated with that particular network will be broken. Okay, this is the disadvantage of using this distributed operating system. And next one is network operating system. What is network operating system? Network operating system means, in the network operating system we have 2 types of computers. Here we are having 2 types of computers. One is the server computer and the second one is the client computer. So we have different more than one computers. Among those computers, one at least compulsory one system should be the server system, and the remaining should be acts as the client systems. Okay, one system should be act as a server system and remaining may be the client system. So here what is the connection between these two types of systems? So server system to a particular whatever the system we are saying, that is a server system, that server system to that server system all the client systems will be connected. Okay, this operating system have a server that connects many other client computers. So many other client computers or many other client systems are connected to the server. Okay, in order to provide the services to the client system, means here the client system sends the request to the server and server system sends the response to the particular client. Whatever the request sent by the client, that for that particular computer, server will send the response. Okay, so see here we are having four types of client systems and one server system. Here this server system provides storage, backup and security. So what do you mean by storage? Storage in the sense, these four client systems, whatever the task performed by the particular client system, all those data will be sent to the server. Means we have two copies of the data. One copy will be at the particular client system and another copy will be at the server system. Okay, it will store the data of all the client systems. Why it is storing all the data of the client systems means, if there is any crashes in the particular client system, if a particular client system will fail you, okay, power loss, there may be a power losses or there may be some crashes, then the entire data of the particular client system will be lost. Then what will do the server system after recovery of the particular client system? The server system resend the data, whatever the data of that particular client, that will be resended by the server. Means that is the backup. Okay, backup is nothing but by storing the data, it will back up the data to the particular client and it will provide the security. So here one thing we have to remember is, if there is any updations, if there are any updated versions on the computer, then no need to update all the client systems. Only we can update the server system. Okay, only we can update the server system. Why? Because entire work will be done at the server side only. Then we need to update the server system and obviously the remaining client system will be automatically updated. That is the advantage of using this network operating system. So see here, it provides the security. So what we have to do, we need to upgrade the server system only. No need to upgrade the remaining systems. Okay, and the next one is the disadvantage of the same what will be discussed in the distributed operating system. There is network, here server. Okay, if the server is failed, if the server is corrupted or if the server is getting any problem, then obviously the remaining client system will be crashed. Okay, that is the disadvantage of using this network operating system. And the next one is a real-time operating system. So what is real-time operating system? Real-time operating system is when we require the quick response. Okay, when we require the quick response, then we will use the real-time operating system. So example is missile system. Okay, missile system is nothing but the missile launches. The missile has to be launched at a certain time. Whatever the time fixed, at that time only the missile has to be launched. Okay, means we are exact response. We are getting the response at a particular time and at a particular period. Okay, the quick response means if we send the request, then within some fraction of milliseconds we need to get the response. That is the real-time operating system. Okay, so in this real-time operating system, the CPU provides its maximum efforts to get the response. So here CPU has to work sharply. Okay, means it has to generate the response quickly. So for that it has to put all its maximum efforts for getting the quick response. So what are the advantages by using this real-time operating system? Means it provides quick response. So it provides quick response obviously. Then where we are using this real-time operating system means it is used in scientific engineering and NASA, etc. Like these scientific purposes only we are using the real-time operating system. So by using this real-time operating system, only one drawback we are having, that is it is very expensive to use. So the cost of the real-time operating system is very high. So it is very expensive to install the operating system, real-time operating system. So apart from this, we have three more types of operating systems. Those are the multi-processing operating system, multitasking operating system, and multi-programming operating system. So see here, what is multi-processing operating system? The system which is having multiple CPUs. Okay, we are having one computer with multiple CPUs, then it is called as multi-processing operating system. So each and every CPU performs individual process, individual task. That is nothing but multi-processing. Okay, and the next one is multitasking operating system. So we can perform more than one task simultaneously without one task is not depends on the another task. Means the execution of one task is not depends on the execution of another task. Means after completion of one task only the second task has to be started. There is no restriction in multitasking operating system. So in multitasking operating system, more than one task are performed simultaneously without depending on the other tasks. Okay, and the last one is multi-programming operating system. So what is multi-programming operating system? In order to perform multiple tasks simultaneously, so each and every task has to use programming concept. Okay, so in order to implement in real world, it needs programming concept. Okay, so for individual tasks, for each and every task, we need different types of programming concepts. That is called as a multi-programming operating system. So to perform multiple tasks, we use different programming concepts. Okay, got it? So these are the this is the briefing about an operating system. So what is an operating system and what are the advantages we are having and what are the different types of operating systems we are having. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you one and all.